Hey guys, I apologise if you can hear the fan. It is very, very hot here. Starting to get into the late spring, summer weather. And it's really hot, but oh no, the sun's going away, which is disappointing. But I'm here to do a video today on a couple of topics, and I was going to make separate videos, so if you would like me to make separate videos on these topics, I definitely can. I know a few of them I will. But I thought I'd talk about a few things today. I have a little list here, and all links will be below. So, a couple of things. First of all, I decided to try out Scrivener. Now, I am not computer savvy, and I kind of really don't like doing things online if I can do them by hand. But I'm here to tell you guys now that I am definitely a Scrivener lover. I've used it for a couple of days, and it has made the progression of my editing, my rewriting, my just plotting, just generally everything to do with my novel so much easier. I'm going to hopefully try and get a video up where I can show you guys how I've utilised each thing and what my novel looks like in Scrivener. It does look like a bit of a mess, but I absolutely adore this program. I'm definitely 100% behind it. I'm trying out the Linux version at the moment because my laptop has Linux and this one has Windows XP. So, and I'm waiting till after I declare the winner on NaNoWriMo's site, because after that point I believe you can get 50% off Scrivener, and I'm going to buy it. So I have two people I just briefly watched a couple of their videos each, because I like to self-teach myself, especially when it comes to computers. I just find myself getting really frustrated with people, and I'd rather just do it myself, unless there's something I really can't find and I just call my partner in. But generally I get really frustrated, so I just try and do and find whatever I can by myself. So I thought I'd let you guys know that I'm using that, and I'm using it to edit, I'm using it to write, I'm using it to rewrite, I'm using it to plan, plot, outline, gather information, do my research, absolutely everything. I'm utilising the shit out of this program, and I am loving it. So the first people that I wanted to talk to you about, one is Erin Bowman, and I believe she is an author. She's actually an author of a book called Taken, and it's actually one on my book list, so I was kind of looking at a picture thinking, I know you from somewhere, but I'm not quite sure. And she has two videos up about Scrivener, which are character sheet worksheets and an outlining tutorial. I watched both of these, and they were very, very helpful. I already started really honing in on my outlining and importing everything in before I watch videos. I kind of just did a few things myself after watching the tutorial about Scrivener. And the other person is Lynn Palomo. I can't pronounce her name properly. And I believe she is called the Armchair Genealogist, and she is a writer of, I believe, that kind of stuff, like family history writer. But her videos on editing and annotations, like editing using the editing what do you call it, interface, I guess you can say, the middle interface, and annotations were absolutely astounding, and I love them. I never knew, I'm not good with Word, I'm not good with anything like that, but just the pure tips and tricks and things that I've learned to make my job a lot easier, especially when it comes to editing, perfection. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about that when I do my video too. She has inspired quite a lot of progress in my work in the past day or two, and just setting things up. And I think that's the main thing when you go into Scrivener. You need to find a system that works for you. And from these videos that I'm watching, I'm finding a system that makes my organisational brain work on a screen. And I think that's really important, that it's functional, especially when you're writing, editing, rewriting, planning and everything like that with your novel. So those two are excellent. I will be linking you below if you do use Scrivener. If you do, feel free to chat with me about it, about your experience, any tips and tricks you can share and things like that, or any videos or tutorials. That would be really great. The next thing I wanted to talk about is critics and critiquing work. I'm not at the stage where I'm ready to have people critique it, and there's a bit of debate about whether you should actually ask people to critique your work when it's in the barest first draft stages, or whether you should do it once you've worked through it yourself and you're at the point where you can't spot anything. And I'm not quite sure how to go about that, but I did actually, very late, almost missed it, participate in a nano critique with Breathless Press Publishing House, which is an American publishing house, I believe. My good friend Oni linked me up really quickly, and you basically had to submit a brief synopsis and any 5 pages of your novel for the publishing house to critique, and they gave you feedback after that. And I got mine back. It was very, very nerve-wracking, but I absolutely loved having that feedback. And it also reiterated some of the points that I know that I struggle with. I definitely struggle with my grammar. I'm getting a lot better. 3 years ago I would be shit and you would not be reading my work, but I've got it up online if you want to. Also, after that, it's sort of talking about my problem with sentence structure. I know that's something that I struggle with. People who have read my work, myself included, know that I have good sentence structure, but sometimes it's awkward, and I just need to work on that and work on using better grammar to form my sentences. And she gave me some great tips on different ways that I could make my prose stronger. And I would not have learned those things had I not taken the risk in getting someone to critique my work. So I'm not at the stage yet exactly to have my whole manuscript critiqued. To be honest with you guys, taking that 50k and breaking it down and working with Scrivener, I pretty much have 18 scenes, and half of those are backstory flashbacks that I'm kind of interweaving together. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me before I'm ready to have that done. But I would be welcoming to the idea of having small parts critiqued, especially areas in which I want to work on plot development, scene development and stuff like that. So I want to talk to you guys about critiquing and what is your experience. Have you found any sites, groups, anything like that? And are you ready for critiquing? What are your thoughts about it? Just wanted to sort of throw that out there. I know that Caitlin from The Sun Went Red is looking to find some critiquing and beta readers in her New Year plan for her novel. And so it's sort of got me thinking, at what stage do I need to start thinking about that? And I already thought about it. And I joined a site called Critters Workshop. I think they have a whole list of different things from artwork and everything like that, but you just got to click on the different forums or different sites. I joined a Sci-Fi and Fantasy workshop, and basically when you sign up, you have the opportunity to have your work critiqued, but you also, to start off with, you need to critique other people's work. And then they have a checklist of what to do and what not to do and things like that to really get you help and started and stuff like that. So it's really quite good, because otherwise I would have gone in there and just, I'm not a cruel person, but I like to know what is the best way that I can put my criticism and critical feedback back without attacking or anything like that. So it's really good to even just to read through that list of how to critique. It's good to think about that with your book and think about any other stories that your friends may have given you or anything like that, or anything, even if you're just a book reviewer, it's good to think about as well. So I'll leave the link below for that. You read one, you can read as many stories as they send you, but you only have to critique one a week, and I've got about 3 in my mailbox, and I plan on reading all of them and having a go at critiquing them, because it also gives me practice for that as well. So it's kind of a give and take situation, and it's good. So I'm hoping that, you know, by the time that I'm ready to critique it out, I can understand what I'm going to be expecting from people when I do that, and how to utilise that feedback appropriately. So that's something to think about, I guess. Even though it's like nano and most people are still writing their novels, I'm just sort of throwing these ideas out for you guys to think about as well, if you have thought about or not have thought about or anything like that. Okay, so I have covered that. Now the next thing I would like to cover is story arc and structure. Now in the past I have talked about what points I use. I use Dan Wells' 7-point plot structure to sort of work out my story arc, and it has been working. It's in the past 2 years it has worked a charm, just by knowing beginning to end what my story is about has really helped, and knowing that the first tip is really just to know what your ending is before you start writing the book, because even if it's just a brief ending, like say everybody goes and shits their pants at the end, that's at least you can always change the ending, but it's good to know where your story is heading. And if anyone was to write that story, I'd probably just wet myself laughing, but I'm really bad at examples. So yeah, so that is one thing I want to talk to you about. I found 2 articles relating to that, which I'm going to link below, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. You guys can check that out if you want to. I have talked about it before. There are videos on YouTube as well where he breaks down his plot structure in 5 videos. I believe one of the articles has a link to the first one, so I'm going to put that below. Sorry, my eyes are itchy. Oh, I keep saying gosh guys. But the other one I want to talk to you about is one that I read recently, actually as recently as this morning, and I'm going to go into a lot more detail about it in another video, I think, because I think it needs a little bit more detail. And I think it's really helpful, and I'm reading this book at the moment. I don't actually think I've even shown you guys this, but if I have, I'm sorry. My partner bought me fiction, writing the fiction series, The Complete Guide to Novels and Novellas by Karen S. Wiesner. And you can get this on Book Depository for about $18, or you can probably find it on Amazon or something like that. I paid about $25 for it. I usually don't pay that much money for a book, but there was a few at Dimmicks, which is a more expensive bookstore in the city. And when I flipped through this, I thought it was really, really good. I won't do a review of it because I'm going to do a review when I finish it. But just to give you guys a brief idea of what this book is made up of, it has 2 parts that I can gauge. It has, the first half is like tips and exercises and everything you can probably think of to set yourself up to write a fiction series or novellas and stuff like that. And I'm going to go into, like I said, I'm going to go into more detail later. But the second half of it actually is a very thick half as well, is worksheets and examples and checklists and all that kind of stuff that is very, very handy to have. And so here's an example. And so each part, has like a little exercise to do corresponding, but it also has it here as well. And I just thought it was fantastic. Well worth the $25 I spent. I think it's like I said, $18 on Book Depository. I've only read 45 pages of this book, but the amount that I have learned and been able to implement with my novel is just astounding. I'm loving it. I'm loving reading this. Also, one of the great things about this book is it gives you great examples of books that are already published and series. Say we're talking about trilogies, it will give you off the bookshelf examples of different genres and different trilogies and things like that, and some I have heard of and others I haven't. And in regards to trying to find stories that I can read to fit my own genre, to study and things like that, and just to enjoy, I think it's a really great series as well. So it's great if you're looking for examples or new series or books or just any different topics to talk about as well. Now, today I'd like to talk very briefly about one of the chapters, which is story arc, and it goes on to work on the overall series arc. But I learnt this today, and I'm going to try and do it really fast because I want to make this video too long. So I've got an example, so please bear with me. Okay, so this is just a story arc example that you can use to plot out your novel. And I've talked about Dan Wells, but this is another one. Okay, so just imagine that this arrow means leads to. So we've got here the story arc. So you've got your introduction and then the change. So introduction leads to change. Change leads to conflict. Conflict leads to choices. Choices leads to crisis, and crisis leads to resolutions. And then if you break it down into these parts, each section is like, introduction is the introduction to the character's life, change in a character's life, conflict in a character's life, choices in a character's life, crisis in a character's life, and resolution in a character's life. So I thought this was really, really helpful. I believe, from what I've read, this is her interpretation of different structures. And she goes on to just do a few examples like the hero's journey. You can see here the hero's journey, how James Scott Bell did his. If you're familiar with the hero's journey, just a different example here. So she has a few on the other page as well, and how that fares in a scale, a graph scale as well. So you start off in the beginning somewhere between happiness and misery, and by the end you're going to be somewhere in the middle too, but all the way through you want to try and bring it up to the highest peak. So this is another way that you could utilize the story structure arc to plot your novel. Again, I'm going to go through mine, hopefully on Scrivener, and just show you an example, but I can also send you an example as well. And I just find this is a lot more simple. I find that when I'm looking at these kind of this kind of information, I get really stuck in the head because I think, okay, I need to fit my story into these parts, but this makes it so much easier because it's there, it's bam, these are questions, what are the choices, what are the changes, what are the crises, what is this character in the introduction, and I'm going to go and do another video very shortly about that, so I don't ramble, because I keep rambling, guys. I get passionate and I keep rambling. So I'm going to go into more detail. So that's just something I wanted to share with you guys. I think that's pretty much all the things I wanted to talk about. Again, all the links will be left below if you want to comment, rate, subscribe, comment, whatever, leave feedback. Any links or anything, feel free to link me up. If you want to know my personal email address, I can send it to you in a personal message, and you can send me some emails too. I hope this video helps you guys. If there's any topics that you really want me to go into extensive detail about, I can do my best to make separate videos. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall talk to you later. Bye.